Aroa from New Zealand. Thank you for stopping by and watching this video. It is a part of my April Showers Bring May Flowers video series, and today I'm doing watercolors and doodles. I always start my creative practice with a scented candle, and if I'm doing watercolors, I take 2 pots of water, 1 pot for the dirty brushes and 1 for clean water to apply on the paper. I'll be using Winsor and Newton paints, a tissue paper and a brush. The list of all the supplies used for today's video is in the description box below. I apply wet water onto the paper. This is a wet on wet technique, and I use Alizarin Crimson. Now if you don't want to use watercolors, you can use anything that you have available in the house, either color pencils. If you have water soluble color pencils, that's also good, because you can first do the shapes with the color pencils and then apply water, so it's as good as watercolors. So I'm applying shapes in form of leaves, and just keep on doing random leaf shapes. I am going to do fishes out of this, so it is a deliberate attempt at painting. Now I'm doing the tail of the fishes, and even though it's a deliberate painting, I tend to be quite loose in my watercolors. I don't like to have too much detail and be too rigid about it. So if you want to make some other shapes, you're free to do so, and have a look at what I'm doing, and then you can do your own practice accordingly. So I've used so far mid-tone of yellow ochre, alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue. It's a very rainy and dull day in New Zealand. I don't know what it is in your part of the world, but I hope it is good. But I love the rains. It makes the country green and clean and all beautiful around. So I'm taking the blue and I mix it with a bit of yellow, and on the reds also I throw a little bit of the blues, just letting the paints flow into each other. If you don't want the paints to flow into each other, that's also good, because I know there are some people who love to, take risks to the extreme like me, and some who are more deliberate in their painting. So there's no good or right thing. Everything is perfect in drawing and coloring and painting. Art is what you want it to be. I've started drawing the fins, and here you can see I find the color becoming muddy, so I just take I make the brush dry on the tissue paper and then just lift off the paint from that portion. So if you don't like something that you have applied, take a dry brush and just pick the paint up from there. I like the color to mix into the body, so it's wet and it gets mixed easily. It just gives a good flow to it. But if you don't like it, then you just wait for it to dry, the body part to dry, and then add the fins and the tail. I add another layer of watercolors to give it extra depth and dimension. I love this texture that it forms. This is just a 160 GSM paper. If it's a 300 GSM paper, the texture is much better. So I now start doodling. I have FaberCastell Fineliners, and in different sizes. So I take the lowest one, 0.1, and draw the eye of the fish. Now you will notice that I don't draw the whole body and the entire fins and tails as fishes have. I just take the artistic liberties to draw it according to what I feel like drawing. And you don't have to do the entire thing to it. Can be just a suggestive marks on the paper. It's nice to draw the lines a little bit over and within the painted section. It just gives a different feeling. That's my opinion. So and I made a mistake that in the second fish, and that's okay. I'll either cover it later or not. We'll see. When I do these warm-up sessions, I don't think too much, because that's not the intention. If I'm doing a painting to sell or a commission painting or something like that, then I have to be cautious and take care. But if I'm just doing it for fun, I really don't care about the mistakes that I do. Just keep painting and have fun, and if it turns out good, it's good, and if it doesn't turn out good, it's good also. At least you have that practice for the day. So I take a brush pen and draw a little bit larger than what the 0.1 was doing, and this gives a nice flow to the tail. I like this particular fish because the peach color has made such nice rivulets in the yellow color. I tend to do sometimes my lines over and above the paints because it just shows a different angle to things, and it's what I like. I'm going to stop here now and let you do the rest of the doodles on the fishes. I have completed it in my own time, and you can either look at the patterns that I have put here and do the same doodles, or you can do something of your own. But thank you so much again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and keep on doing your lovely doodles, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow.